Good morning, everybody. It's Dave again from my channel. Today I'm going to talk about loneliness, therapy, and kind of a setback from my therapist, which kind of messed with my head. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I got left about a month and a half ago, and I've had a rough time of it. We were married for on and off about 20 years, and then kind of all of a sudden she decided she wanted something else. Anyway, I've been going to therapy, and this last time that I went, my therapist, she says, well, I think your ex is eventually going to try to come back. What are you going to do when she does? And like the whole month and a half, I realize a month and a half is not a long time. It's going to take people years to get over this. It's going to take me years to get over it, probably. But that just threw me for a loop, because in my head that was like, oh, there's still hope. And the whole time I've been fighting to stop that in my own brain, you know? Like, I want there to be hope, but I have to act, I have to know that there's not, or I'm not going to be able to move on, you know? And I get that. And I know a lot of other people out there are dealing with the same thing. It's like, 20 years, they say it takes what, 6 months for every year that you need to be, or yeah, 6 months for every year or some shit like that, that you need to be alone, or to be okay to get over a marriage or a relationship. And that's just like, there's no way I'm going to be, not okay for 10 years or be alone for 10 years. Like, that's crazy. That's not going to happen. Like, I don't know what I would do with myself. And that's something else that I need to talk about. You have to turn that sadness of what you're missing now, and loneliness, into happiness, being aloneness, Sorry, my camera's kind of hacking up. So I started doing things on my own. I mean, I'd rather not. I'd rather do things with people, but because of the issues that my ex-wife, still my wife, but soon to be ex-wife, had, I realized that, I gave up a lot of my friends for her, because there was always something wrong with them, I gave up friends. I gave up a lot of socializing. I played video games, and some people complain, aha, you were playing video games and you were ignoring her. No, I played video games and I played things at home because I felt like I always needed to be home with her, with my family, to make sure things were going to be okay. You know what I mean? So I played video games instead of going out with friends, to make sure that I was close to the family, and to my ex. And if you hadn't seen my other videos, please like and subscribe. Go back and watch them. I do a lot more shorts now because I realize that's what people are watching. But my ex had a lot of mental issues, and she still does. And I still, to this day, believe that she is not 100% there right now. But there's nothing I can do about that. I told her before, I just want her to be happy, and if that's not with me, then that sucks, But I also realize that due to her conditions, that she's likely to never be happy for long. So there's really not a lot that I can say or do. I just have to move on with my life, get used to my aloneness, and be happy on my own. It's been a little while since I did a video, and I don't know why necessarily. It's just, this was a week that I didn't have my son, so it was just me, and you would think that that would be one of the best weeks to do multiple videos, but it's just been really hard. The last video I did was a little over a week ago, I think, and that was about her bipolar, borderline personality disorder, ADHD, PTSD, a huge list of stuff, and nobody really posted on that, so I didn't talk about it more than I did. And it's hard. And a lot of people have said in comments, you need to get over it. You need to keep working on yourself. Turn this channel into what you're doing to live your life and get over it and get better, you know? And that's something I have done. I'm down. Now, of course, this started before the divorce, but back in 2021, I was about 272 pounds, and now you can kind of see I'm nowhere near that. I weighed in at about 202 yesterday, which I'm proud of. That's almost my high school weight. I'm shooting for 199, and that was just because that was a nice round number, non-round number, I should say. My kid hates that. He says, well, you're going to have to eat a sandwich or something when you get to 199 because you need it to be an even number. So that was funny, but I wasn't too worried about it. So, but then I'm thinking, you know what? I'm almost at 199. I'm going to go for like 185, and I'm going to see if I've got some abs underneath this little belly fat that I've got left. I used to have a lot of belly fat. I've gone down from size XL t-shirts and clothing and size 38, 40 pants to, medium shirts and 34, 36 pants within, and of course that was within a few months actually. In the month and a half that I have been working towards this divorce, like I have a fucking choice, right? I've lost 24 pounds probably in a month, so almost probably like a pound a day. Of course, I had some good days in there where I'd have cheat days, or I was with my family, and we would be like, "Yeah, let's all eat a pizza or something," and I'd overeat. But the idea is I'm not. At first, I started losing weight because I was sad, and I think this is what happens with a lot of people. I was sad, and I just didn't want to eat. I never got to the point where I didn't want to live. I will say, I'll go back a little bit. Part of the reason I'm doing a video today is because I had a rough night last night. I don't think I slept. I may have slept an hour in there. All I could do was think about my ex. This is probably bad to say online. Maybe it'll get me into trouble. I don't know. But she doesn't know that I can see her calendar still. And I saw that she has yesterday. I was looking for my son. I wasn't spying on her per se. I was looking for my son. I can usually see where he is on his phone. He was with her, but I couldn't tell where he was. And it said that his phone wasn't showing up on location for like 5 or 6 hours. And I thought, that's so weird. What's going on? And he didn't reply to me from text. I was just asking how he was doing. Anyway, I went and I looked at her calendar, and dumbass that I am, digging in further than I should have, I saw where she had an OBGYN appointment for next week, and it had the nurse on there. So I was curious, and I looked up the nurse, and her specialty is midwife. So that almost made me want to throw up for most of the night. You know what I mean? Like, could my wife, my still wife, soon to be ex, seriously have gone out and found another man basically before we were even separated, days after she was telling me that she loved me, weeks after saying that I was one of the only things that was keeping her alive over the years due to her suicidal ideations. Within weeks of that, getting pregnant by another guy that she has posted on fucking Facebook about being soulmates. Are you fucking kidding me? I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. And I know some of you have gone through this, and I know some of you are going through it now because it's constant. There's always, I think they said at any point, like 1 million or more divorce cases going on in the United States. So I know some other people are going through this, and it's probably the exact thing. Um, and it's fucking horrible, you know? It really is. Just that thought that somebody can wholly give up on something so quickly. And I know what it tells us is that she's not stable. I don't, she goes to therapy every week right now. Now, if she was okay, if she was mentally good, she would not need to go to therapy every week. That tells me that she's not okay. She's faking like she's okay. She's putting on a facade. She's telling people that things are great with this new guy. He's amazing. You know what I mean? But if it was, she wouldn't be in therapy every week. She wouldn't, continue to have all these problems. She's not handling bills. She finally changed her address on a couple of things, I noticed. So she's getting mail at her dad's, even though she's living with her boyfriend. She literally started going stay all night with him days after she told me that she wanted a divorce. Within a week or so after telling me that she loved me, you know what I mean? It just blows my mind. But this is why it's fucking with me. When you are in love with somebody, when you feel like you've planned your entire life around being with someone who has I want to say mental disabilities, and they are. I know some people would not like you to explain it like that, but it kind of is. And obviously get them diagnosed. And this is, I will say, this is not something that I'm making up. I'm not saying, well, I think she's bipolar. I think she has, no, they are diagnosed. She's had them for a long time. We were married 3 years. She got diagnosed after a few years, apologized, freaked out, wanted me back. I accepted her back with some caveats, some boundaries. I read some books. I learned how to put my boundaries up, which I wasn't good at. I was not good at holding those boundaries. I allowed her to cheat on me. I allowed her to steal from me, things like that. It wasn't good. Everybody's telling me now, get out. The therapist said, on a train and you're along for the ride, and are you okay with that ride? Can you survive mentally on this ride? And I said it before, I'll say it again. I'll say I wasn't ready to get off the ride. There are still, whenever, people ask me, her mom or even my mom or whatever, it's like I still wasn't ready to give up. She still checks a lot of boxes on something that I want in a person. Um, and eventually I'll probably get over it and find someone who, loves me for just who I am. Somebody that I don't have to fight for, you know? That's the hard part. It's like, because of her issues, mainly um, borderline personality disorder, it was a constant fight to relieve her fear of abandonment and non-love. So I constantly either had to reinforce that feeling in her. And if I didn't, for whatever reason, like if I ever had issues, like I just wasn't feeling it, I wasn't feeling loved, or I wasn't feeling, just, I don't know, I just didn't feel good. You know what I mean? Um, she would take that as there's something wrong. You know what I mean? And I know people get that a lot in relationships. They'll say, oh, women are always like that. They always take everything out of, well, okay, take that. But in somebody with BPD or bipolar, times it by 20. And that's the feeling that this person gets. You could literally be, uh, you know, just feeling kind of depressed. And to her, it's, you're ready to leave me right now. And I need to do something to make myself feel better. And that can be something like go out and find a boyfriend. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you do? Like, you just have to be prepared for that if you're in a relationship with somebody like that. And it's fucking sad, but you have to kind of keep an eye on their socials and stuff. And I mean, God forbid it was 15 years with mine, and I trusted her. I didn't check her socials. I didn't have a lot of her passwords for things, you know. I just let it slide. Uh, because it had been 15 years. I thought, hell, surely she wouldn't do something like that now, you know. And plus, she had depression and stuff, so a lot of times she would be staying at home anyway. So it was easy enough to pay attention. But I should have noticed she she was bringing things up like, oh, just we're too different. We're too different. She was over the last year and a half. I think she was looking for excuses to get out of a relationship. And the next time she had an episode, which is in the spring usually, uh, she decided that was the time. When I had a couple of bad times, not a couple, there were probably a few times, a month or so, where I had said something stupid, a bad joke. I never tried to hurt her. I never raised a hand towards her or anything like that. But there, there's just she was looking for something. Her therapist said she was sabotaging her marriage. So I think she was just having that. I don't want to say a midlife crisis, but I kind of think that's what it is. She wanted something that she felt like she was missing, and a lot of people do that, males and females, um, and that's very, very likely to be what any of your cobwebs. It's very likely to be what any of your relationships how they ended, um, because it's just super common. That's people just think, you know what, I'm gonna go out and look for that other 20%, you know, from the 80-20 or the 90-10 thing. That you can look that up. People always think I can go find that 10%. And just like my ex right now, she's got this new guy, and she's like, she thinks in her mind she's putting this fake, oh, I found a guy who's 100% of what I want. You haven't found shit after a month or 2 months. You haven't found it. You don't know this guy. uh, you know, you may have known him for a while, but you haven't lived with him. You know, you haven't, you haven't cleared the room with farts in the middle of your bedroom. You know, you haven't had a depressive episode and, just in the middle of having sex and upset your significant other so many times that they're also depressed. So, I'm going through my coffee here. I know I'm not really talking about anything. I need to get back to talking about what I'm doing for the loneliness. There's not much to do. My eldest, he's 20. He's moving out this next week. So now it's me in a 3,000 square foot house by myself that I, have to think about every time I come up to it. Look at all this that I built for our family, and there's no family. Yeah, I'll probably get custody of my son, and she'll hate that. But it's just everything you built for nothing. It seems like I dread to bring this up, but I 100% understand why some men commit suicide after things like this happen. Um, I've had inklings of it. I'm pretty stable mentally, but this can break somebody. You know, they say it is worse than having a death. You know, a close death. Um, it feels like it, but I think this is something you can get over. Whereas a death, that's never coming back. And I guess in a way you could say the marriage is never going to come back. You know, my therapist, going back to that, my therapist asked me, well, what are you going to do when she does try to come back, whether it be 6 months from now or 2 or 3 years from now. And I was pretty quick to answer, and it's my own answer saddened me, really. Uh, my answer was I would probably want her back because she still checks the boxes of something that I want in a person for my life. But I don't know if she could handle the boundaries that I would have to set, the rules that I would have to set. Because I believe now, after looking back, and honestly, I'm doing these videos, I told you guys before, I've done these videos for my own therapy, not really to make money, not or anything like that. If I ended up making money on it someday for my drama, so be it. It'll help me raise my son, and I appreciate it, any subscribers and stuff. But I don't know. I think that my ex, part of the reason I believe this is, and this is not diagnosed, I believe she has a lot of narcissism. She always talked about her mom having it. I never paid much attention to it other than knowing who Narcissus was in the old, was it Greek tales? Anyway, so I started looking it up, and I mean, I tell you what, they're like, okay, here's a list of things that they'll do. They'll do this, then they'll do this, and then they'll do this. And she did every one of those things down the list. She also did everything down the list of someone having a, and this is still going on, having a split during a borderline personality disorder episode. They call it splitting. It's like they invent, like something happens that triggers them, and I know what it was. It was me telling her that if she continued to commit suicide, then try to commit suicide again and again and again, then we needed to think about our future. And in her head, that was, when shit gets hard, he's going to leave me. And that's not what I meant necessarily. But anyway, that triggered her, and she could not get past that. And what she did was she split. And right now, it's like she's a different person. And I know if you don't know much about borderline personality disorder, it sounds like split personality disorder. It's not really that. It's has similarities in certain ways. They still have the same general personality, but what they can do is sort of invent something temporarily that gives them strength, something that gives them power to try to fix a problem that they perceive, which is a lot like multiple personality disorder. Of course, a lot of times they don't have choices in that, but in this situation, it's very odd because what I'm seeing is she's doing things that she'd never liked to do before. She's trying to make this new guy happy because she needs energy. She needs what they say, and if she's a narcissist, then what they're saying is that she needs another source, like almost like a vampire, which is really sad, but it's also kind of true. She needs that source of happiness, not happiness, energy. I don't know what it is, but there's a source of fulfillment, I guess you could say, in a way. So I better turn here, get close to some cars. Anyway, yeah, she's forgetting things. She's taking our son to do things that she should know that he doesn't like to do. But it's like she doesn't know. It's wild. It's fucking wild. He has told me he doesn't want to be with her. He wants to live with me and just visit her sometimes. The past couple times I've taken him back to her when it was my turn to visit, he said he didn't want to go back. He said he just didn't want to be there. And that's fucking sad, but he sees it as well. He sees that it's like, this is not my mom, you know? It's somebody who's trying to be my friend, but she also keeps insinuating this new guy into my son's life. And it's sad, because he's like, well, at least the guy's nice. And I'm like, well, buddy, you don't really know the guy very well. And she doesn't really either. She has no business doing that. So she's doing that and about 20 other things that are on the list of things you really should not do while you're going for custody of your son. And sadly, because of all of her issues and probably narcissism from what I found out online, she will probably fight this court case and not settle beforehand, which means it's going to end up costing us both a shitload of money. And she's still not going to get what she wants. So I'm waiting for this car so I can go out on the road. It's a little wet, a little nasty here this morning. So I'm, my shoes are getting wet in the grass, in the dew on the grass. So I'm walking down the street now. I'll get back into the park down here in a minute. Yeah, this is getting to be a long video now. I know nobody's going to listen this long, but if you're interested, you're interested. Like I said, if you want to learn more about it, just ask me. I'll give you my drama. Last night I did something interesting. I went to see a 16 millimeter showing of Night of the Living Dead, the original, 1966, I believe. That was pretty cool. They were talking artsy about it, and I was like, I'm not into the art crap. I just thought it'd be interesting. I needed to do something. I need to be out. I will say this, if somebody's still listening that gives a shit about any of this, the loneliness, you got to get out. You just got to get out. I've met so many people, and so many people, I say so many. It's not as many as I would like, and I'm not connecting with them very well. Like a permanent connection, you know? It's more like a one-off chat, and then the next time I see them on the street or something, I wave, and that's it. But I mean, eventually that'll probably develop into other friendships and things like that. But you have to do it. You have to. Like, if you don't do that, you're going to be way more sad than if you were by yourself. Right? Does that make sense? I don't know. I kind of lost. There's dogs freaking out. So you got to get out there and you got to do stuff. Walking is great. Yesterday, I was able to run 6 miles straight in under an hour, and that made me feel great about myself. I weighed in lower than I had in a long time. I shaved, and I don't know if I like it or not. I posted on Facebook to see what other people thought of it. I kind of have a baby face now. I definitely don't look like I'm in my age now, other than around my eyes a little. But it's morning. It's early morning. If you can't sleep, don't just sit on your ass and do nothing. Get up and take a walk or something. Hell, make videos like this. You know, I'll watch your channel. Post your channel on the bottom here and subscribe to mine. I'll subscribe to yours. We'll watch each other's videos. Gives you something to do. You know, I'm up above almost 10,000 views on. Of course, a lot of those are shorts. A lot of people watch them real quick. I learned to keep them under about 1 minute. That way people watch more of them. But I don't know. I'm not going to make any money anytime soon. I've only got about 30 hours watched. So that's not happening. I'm not going to get that, 3,000 hours or anything anytime soon. But I don't know. Gives me something to do. It always does make me feel better after videos. It's like an extra therapy session. And I know if you're like me, I was never into therapy. I wasn't. I said it before and I say it again. One of my downsides was I didn't feel like I needed therapy with my wife. But being a dumbass that I am, I wasn't picking up that when she was asking me if she thought that I needed to go, that we should go to therapy. Gentlemen, or women probably, if your significant other asks you if you think that we need to go to therapy, that means they think we need to go to therapy, and you need to fucking go to therapy, and you need to find out what's wrong, and you need to find out if what's wrong is something that's fixable. The vast majority of divorces are not mutual. They're not. One person's going to hold on longer. And that's reality. I don't know what to tell you. That is what it is. And it's usually men, because men just don't want to give up. Sometimes, even if they're, look at my blue eyes, ladies. Even if they're a little more unhappy, I've said this in another video. Better the unhappiness or the uncomfortable that you know, than the unhappiness or uncomfortable that is, you by yourself with nothing. The unknown. That's the worst thing for most people. That's probably one of the biggest fears. Not being left, but just the unknown, having no idea what's going on, having no control, which is that is being left. That's a part of it. Being left is somebody removing what you loved or what you had control over. And sadly, I think what part of my problem that I need to realize is that my ex probably left because she couldn't control me. I read the books, Stop Walking on Eggshells, and I Love You, I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. That's the borderline. And she read, she looked through the Stop Walking on Eggshells a little while back, and she actually told me, this blows my mind. She told me, I reread that book, and that kind of pissed me off. And that's when I started thinking that she was probably narcissist. The idea that somebody else had to set boundaries for their own mental fucking health pissed her off. Blows my mind. That literally, that's like a vampire being pissed off because you won't let him into your house. It's like, what fucking right do you have, bunny rabbit? What right do you have to fuck other people over for your own happiness? And something like that is one of the only things that helps me to learn and to understand that I have to do this alone, probably. I'll probably find somebody else, but that relationship probably wasn't healthy for me. I got unhealthy physically, but now I'm getting back to that. And I could have done that, and that was something too. I think I started getting healthy a couple of years ago and running and things like that, and I think she didn't like that. She wasn't an exerciser, so I think she got kind of maybe jealous. I don't know if it was jealousy, but I think she got upset because I was doing something that she had no control over. And I told her early on, I said, look, we need to make an understanding here that I don't want to ever feel bad for working out. I didn't do it excessively. I did it 2 or 3 times a week, usually at weird times when it didn't affect our family life. So I told her, I was like, I can't let you make me feel bad for doing this. If I need to go out for a walk for an hour, I need to go out for a walk for an hour to get energy, to feel better, to lose weight, I felt terrible. I felt like winded going upstairs and stuff. So anyway, this is a really long video. It's the longest one I've done in a long time. I'm not sure if anybody's going to be watching this anymore, but I'll post it in a little bit. I need to find a title for it because I'm just fucking rambling. So hope you guys listen, but if not, I understand. Have a better day than I had yesterday. I hope I have a good day today. It's Father's Day. I get my son at noon. We're going to have a good time. This week we got some stuff planned. I'm going to do better. I want you to do better. Love you guys. Have a good one.